But let's jump in real quick. I want to focus on a topic that I've read all your blog entries about, the internet ofs hierarchy. So we have the internet of everything, the internet of things, the internet of bodies. This resource is meant to be for technology neophytes as much as it is expert explorers. So first, if you could you describe, what are each of these concepts? Internet of everything, things, bodies.
So basically, the Internet of Things or the Internet of anything really is a device of some sort that has internet connectivity. So something that may not have ever had or needed to have internet connectivity now has an IP address. It's probably on your router, your Wi-Fi, and it may not be evident to the user what's actually happening with the data that gets collected from that stuff and what people are using it for. So Internet of Things, again, is anything with internet connection. So you think about like your Ring doorbell, that's the Internet of Things device. They have the fancy refrigerators that'll tell you when you have, you're out of milk or something, and it'll order stuff for you. The vacuum cleaners that go around your house, they're basically mapping your residence and stuff that's in there.
Okay. That's
but you wouldn't know that, right? Because
Right.
you think, okay, something's connected to the internet. It has a screen and I can interact with it and I can find out what's happening. Even like the smart speakers, that's a big one where most people aren't aware of what is being recorded there. They think just because, we have a code word and the thing responds to me, is literally listening constantly. So once just like you search for something on the internet, like on Google or whatever, like they basically own what you just put in there. So when you're talking to smart speaker devices, it's probably their terms of service is probably like 100 pages long. If you look in there, it'll tell you that they're recording this in some way, or and then for me, I think Internet of Bodies is really fascinating because I think that this area is going to really explode because of COVID, right? Because of COVID now, there's going to be a lot of acceleration in technology as it relates to medical stuff. So like now, I remember before you couldn't get a doctor's appointment virtually. So now everybody's doing virtual doctor's appointments. But now they're going to be in a situation where they want to be able to diagnose people at a distance. So they may send you a device that they want you to wear, or I saw this thing recently. There's like a thing that will track your vital signs. It looks like a stamp that you get from the post office, and you just tag it on there. And so that's connected. It's sending information to the internet. It's putting information in a file somewhere. You may not know sort of what's happening with that, but I think especially the Internet of Bodies is sort of two camps. One is the regular camp that we think about, which is you're going to a doctor or physician and your data is protected because you're in a patient provider situation. But then you have these other things, let's say like a Fitbit, where because you're not in a patient provider setting, that data that you give or that's recorded doesn't have the same privacy protections that you would have in a medical setting. So consumer laws in the US are like the lowest level of data privacy rights ever. So if you're giving over that data, because it's not protected in that way, and the people who are collecting that data have no obligation to protect it in the same way that your medical data is protected. So a lot of it is about what's being collected, why it's being collected, who's collecting it, what is the data being used for. And I know some people say, oh, I have nothing to hide or whatever. But what if, let's say,
until you do.
Yeah, let's say let's say that you had a Internet of Bodies a device, maybe you bought off the internet or something. You're tracking yourself and your vitals on the internet, and let's say that data gets sold to a potential employer, right? And they may say, I don't want to interview this person because I just found out that their heart rate is high and we think that they're going to make our insurance premiums high. So they don't have to tell you that they learned that because, again, that data does not have the same protection. that your medical information has when
Sure.
you're in a patient provider setting, and then you may just be discriminated against without actually knowing that you may have been out of the running before you ever got into the door at all. So that's the concern.
Recently, I got my annual cardiogram, right? And you do a stress test, you run on the treadmill, and they give you that thing you take home with the sensors, and they monitor it remotely. That's information that when I was thinking about it, I'm telling my family how, I wanted this protected. I was wondering about where it was stored, how it was stored. But then I put my Fitbit on and go out for a run. And I don't think anything about it being the same information that could be sold to an insurance company. So no, I think one of the big issues is just the consumer awareness and the fact that a lot of these issues are ones that developers and even some regulators kind of put it on the consumer, that they have to do all this work themselves
in
this environment. I don't know if that's necessarily a fair thing.